we're sewing our corset now. So the first thing to do is to iron air stay. That's the interfacing. You're going to iron it on each panel of the corset that we cut out. You're going to iron, okay? And once you're done ironing, once you're done ironing the air stay, yes, then you sew in the ½ inch allowance. You're going to join everything together with ½ inch. And once you're done joining, you then open up each joining like this, each seam, and then you press it down. You press it down. Now, because your bustier area, look at this, is curved in a way, so you're going to make this curve presser. This is called a curve presser. I just did it by cutting 2 circles, and then I stuffed in fabrics inside, and then I just sewed it round. So this will enable you to iron this curve properly, this bustier area. You're going to push it under like this. You open up, you sprinkle water on the seam line, and then you press with the pressing iron. So this curve presser will go into the bust and allow you press this properly. Remember to notch the the curves, the bustier at the center. Remember to notch that curve so that it can rest properly. Now this is how to bone your corset. You get the 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch bones. Now this comes in different rolls, so I just bought something and I cut it into pieces. Now before you cut, you must have measured this on each panel. You must have measured the length there. So what you do now is you take your bias strip. This is the ready-made bias strip. You want to use it to make channels. So you're going to iron the bias strip like this. Once you're done ironing, then you place it against the seam that you've done. You place it like this on the middle, like this, and then you'll be sewing like around it. You'll be sewing a 1/4 inch around it. Just so. Just make sure there's something inside, there's a space inside for the bone to pass through. So once I'm done sewing on both sides, I'll show you what next to do. The easiest way to sew your channel is to pin the bias strip down to it, and then you turn the fabric like this, and then you'll be top stitching on both sides of the seam line. Just top stitch on both sides of the seam line. The back blocks. So I want to fix my loop. How do you make the loop? You're just going to cut out a long strip of the satin. It could be 2 inches width. That's the width. And then you're going to be folding it like this. Just make it 2.5. Fold in like this. Let the other one overlap on it, and then you fold into 2 directly. I cut it out from this one. So you fold like this, and then you're going to be top stitching on this down. When you top stitch, this is what you get. Now you're going to bend in this way. You bend it this way, and then you're going to top stitch it down. Look at the seam allowance, which is ½ inch. You're going to top stitch down, or you can go the other way like this. Make sure you leave ½ inch at the top, because we'll be turning our lining with that ½ inch. Leave it at the top, and then when you finish sewing, this is what you're going to have at the back of your loop. So we are going to, after doing this, I'll be putting the loops there, and then you're going to now make a long rope. It's just the same way as making your loop, but don't cut it into pieces. You measure the length of the back corset, you multiply it by 3. Okay, so if this is 7, I'm going to be cutting 21 inches length. So once I do that, so this is what I will use in lacing the back of my gown. So that's the result of the loop. And so when you press, this is what you get. You're going to be sewing it to ½ inch, that ½ inch at the back, and then this is what our loop is going to be at the back. Now you can see I've sewn the 1/4 inch on both sides of the bias. This is the wrong side. And then look at it, I've inserted the bones. Look, I'm trying to pull it out for you to see. So you can see is the size of the bone that we left at the middle of each stitch. Look at it. So you just insert your bone, you push it in like this. You push that in. So when it comes out, this is what you get. So you insert the bones into the corset at every seam line like this. So once you're done with this, you're going to take your back block. You can see that's the back block. That's the back block. So you're going to lay this on the front block like this. You lay this on the front block like this. And so now you'll be sewing 1 inch on this side, and you sew 1 inch on this side. So 1 inch. So that's your corset. You can see the way it fits perfectly, and it's going to be really tight when you sew. And look at the side. That's the side. And look at the back. There will be a fabric at the back that will attach so that we can lace it there. For the back flap that will be attaching to one side of the back corset, you're going to measure 11 inches by 8 inches. 8 inches. And so once you get that, you cut 2 pieces of your satin like that, and then you fold into 2 like this. And so you mark 1 inch inside, and so you slant it to the top here. So you're going to be sewing 1/2 inch on both sides of the flap, and then you sew 1/2 inch at the top too. And so once you're done, you just turn it out at the under. So for the lining, we've joined all the panels, and then we've notched. You're going to notch especially the under bust area and round the bustier so that it will rest. And so now you'll be fixing your bra cups to the lining. Fix your bra cups to the lining. How do you do that? Either you can bend it either ways. It forms. So let's do it this way. You put this on the bustier. You take the second one, you put that on the bustier area too, and then you'll be taking your office pin. You're going to pin this to this point. Make sure you leave 1/2 inch at the top. We'll be sewing this to the fabric with 1/2 inch, so you can leave 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch upward, and you pin the rest to the under bust area. So you can sew directly on the line. I'll prefer that after pinning it, you bend it in like this under your machine, and you follow the seam line. Do the same thing for this one. You follow the seam line. So now to the waist, you can see the effect.